Hi guys, welcome back. This beauty is the GTX 780 Ti. You can think of it as Nvidia's answer to Team Red's Radeon R9 290X. After the GTX 780 got beaten badly by the much cheaper AMD card, Nvidia had to act. And this is where we finally see the fully unlocked GK110 core in action. The 780 Ti was released in November 2013 and Nvidia set the price at $699. Expensive? Sure. But then, it was the top product for the 700 series, and Nvidia also claimed it was the best gaming GPU on the planet. One cannot argue. The Kepler core was clocked at 875 MHz with the advertised boost clock of just 928 MHz, but in reality it would boost much higher and often nearing the 1200 MHz mark. There are 3 GB of GDDR5 memory that's clocked at 1750 MHz on a 384-bit bus and a TDP rated at 250 watts. My card is a Gigabyte WindForce 3X OC version, which I purchased boxed a while back for around £100 or about $115. However, prices have dropped since. There is a healthy second-hand stock available and ranging from £60 all the way up to £100, depending of course on the brand and the condition. With its limited DirectX 12 support, no driver support and being nearly a decade old, how usable is this beast in 2022? Well, you know the drill. Let's look at the card in the detail. Gigabyte fitted this card with 3 80mm fans and 6 copper heat pipes to provide enough cooling capacity and somehow still managed to keep the card just 2 slot wide. 2 8-pin power connectors are required and Gigabyte would recommend a 600-watt power supply. The I/O offers HDMI, a full-size DisplayPort and 2 DVI ports to choose from. And as promised, here's my new kitchen scale. The 780 weighs slightly above 1000 grams or about 2.2 pounds. There are 4 spring-loaded screws and 3 smaller screws towards the middle of the card. This cooler has full copper cold plate and covers memory modules, which is nice to see. Ever seen a pair of screws to keep things together on a card before? I haven't, but I must say it looks good. The cooler itself weighs just under 700 grams. Let me clean and replace the old thermal paste next and then reassemble the card back together. Under continuous load, GPU peaks at 71C whilst pulling 261 watts. Gigabyte's WindForce cooler kept it under 56 dB, which was really impressive. Time to hit the benchmarks and we start with Firestrike. Scoring nearly 12,500 points, the 780 Ti mopped the floor with any single GPU cards we looked at prior. But a honourable mention to the last legacy battle, it's still falling short of those dual GPU monsters. In Heaven benchmark, the 780 Ti scored nearly 2300 points. I compared the card with the last generation of cards for power and cost effectiveness, higher number meaning better. To explain, for every watt it used, the 780 scored 8.8 points. Similar, for every dollar of the MSRP that we needed to pay, it scored 3.29 points. I will add to this graph as we go along, let me know what you think of it. We buy GPUs to play games, well, some of us do anyway. Let's now jump to Cyberpunk 2077. I had to use low settings, but the old beast managed to push impressive 49 FPS on average whilst pulling around 200 watts. Good overall experience, but I don't think anyone should play this game using low settings as it really makes the city look flat and takes the immersion away. Witcher 3 with ultra settings runs smoothly and I saw 56.5 FPS on average. Whilst I took care of some peasants, as you do, the 780 used 230 watts on average. With the announcement of the remastered edition on its way, will you return to this title? Next, I tested Need for Speed Heat with medium settings. Mixture of nighttime racing and some cruising around, 780 Ti pushed 47 FPS on average, which was enough for a smooth experience. Dropping to low settings pushed the frames over 60. The remake of Mafia introduced some first-class visuals to Lost Heaven, but overall it felt a little rushed when compared to the original game. Using medium settings, 780 Ti pushed 55 FPS on average. The 99% usage pushed the power draw up to around 250 watts. Next, the handcard ride in Metro 2033 Redux. This game ensures proper stress test for any GPU. With high settings and 16 times AF enabled, ISO 72 FPS on average. To my big surprise, Red Dead Redemption 2 gave 780 Ti no trouble. To enable smooth gameplay, I choose Favor Performance preset on its last tick before Balanced. Vulkan API ran great and I saw nearly 57 FPS on average. Let's not forget, 780 Ti was 5 years old when this game just came out. Battlefield 5 next. Here, cards saw lower than usual utilization. Despite this, 780 Ti managed to push 57 FPS on average and provided very smooth experience. Beware, the driving horror game pushed the 780 Ti the hardest. Mandatory drive by the power plant to engage the goon chase is unlike anything I have ever experienced. Please guys, give it a go and let me know how you felt. I saw 69 FPS on average with the shadow distance set to 150. Closing off the game testing with a free game, Hunter: The Call of the Wild. Even though the game is now a couple of years old, its visuals are out of this world. With high settings, 780 Ti managed 48 FPS on average and provided relaxing gameplay. Here we are, the 780 Ti nearly a decade later and still going strong. I really wish I could travel back in time and be able to afford it back then. Imagine the smack on my face. Final form of Kepler architecture was one seriously powerful GPU, and even today the 780 Ti provides enough horsepower and respectful frame rates. On the other hand, the small amount of VRAM and high power consumption are really the reasons why you shouldn't consider buying one. I mean, this card costs me 10p in electricity every time hour passes when I play games. That's wrong in more than one way. Benchmarks from 2013 would suggest the 780 Ti was faster than an R9 290X, and I would like to see if this is still the case. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as ever, don't forget to let me know if you ever owned one of these. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.